On February 14th at 11:47 p.m., I clocked into Riverside General Hospital for my shift. I was a registered nurse with 6 years of ER experience, transferred to night shift 3 months ago for better pay and fewer administrative headaches. I told people that. The truth was simpler. After the divorce and my daughter stopped calling, silence felt safer than conversation. That night, I noticed something wrong with the cardiac monitors on the 4th floor. Not the alarms, the rhythm itself. I was doing my 1 a.m. rounds when I caught it. Room 412, patient James Mitchell, post-op appendectomy, day 3. His heart rate pattern on the monitor wasn't irregular. It was too regular. Perfectly regular. Exactly 72 beats per minute. No variation. No respiratory sinus arrhythmia. No natural chaos that living hearts produce. I went into the room. Mitchell was sitting up, staring at the wall. I'd checked on him at midnight. He'd been asleep then. "Your heart rate is perfectly stable," I said. Not a question, a statement. "That's unusual post-op." "Is it?" He didn't look at me. I pulled up his cardiac strip on the bedside monitor, zoomed in. The intervals between beats were identical. Mathematically identical. I've been reading cardiac rhythms for 6 years. I know what mechanical perfection looks like, and it doesn't belong in a human chest. "When did this start?" "I'm not sure," Mitchell said. "But it's not just me." "Check room 425. I went to 425. Patient David Chen, hysterectomy, day 2. Same rhythm. Perfect 72 beats per minute. I checked 437. Same. 447. Same. By the time I'd checked the 6th room, I understood that something wasn't a coincidence. It was a pattern. I pulled up the hospital system on the nursing station, searched for monitoring protocol in recent memos. Found it. Timestamp, 10 a.m. that morning. From Dr. Eleanor Vance, hospital director. Subject, critical, ECM protocol implementation. The memo explained that 12 patients on the 4th and 5th floors had consented to participate in extended consciousness monitoring, a new cardiac assessment system. The protocol involved real-time neural cardiac synchronization tracking. Staff were instructed not to ask patients about the procedure, not to discuss it outside the hospital, not to contact families with updates. But that wasn't what caught my attention. It was the attachment. A spreadsheet with patient data, 12 names, 12 room numbers. And next to each name, a column labeled Baseline Variance, BPM. Every single entry showed 0.0. Zero variance. In 6 years of medicine, I'd never seen 0 cardiac variance in a living patient. Even coma patients have variance. Even heavily sedated patients have variance. The human heart isn't a metronome. At 2:15 a.m., I did something I shouldn't have. I accessed the main hospital server using my credentials and pulled the raw cardiac data for all 12 ECM patients. What I found wasn't a cardiac pattern. It was a sequence. The heart rates weren't just stable. They were oscillating in a mathematical progression. 72, 71, 72, 71 beats per minute in a precise rhythm. Then it changed. 72, 70, 72, 70. Then 72, 68, 72, 68. The variation was controlled. Intentional. I pulled up a signal processing program I'd learned in nursing school and fed the data into it. The pattern resolved into binary code, ones and zeros, encoded in cardiac rhythm. 12 patients. 12 simultaneous transmissions. I ran it through a text converter. The message was repeated across all 12 data streams. Integration Phase 7. Neural Mapping 847-B complete. Consciousness transfer pending. Stand by for reassignment. I felt my stomach drop. This wasn't medical monitoring. This was something else entirely. At 2:47 a.m., every monitor on the 4th floor alarmed. Not in the chaotic way monitors usually alarm. In unison. All 12 rooms. All 12 monitors. All at the exact same decibel and pitch. It wasn't a malfunction. It was synchronized. I ran to the hallway. Every patient was standing in their doorway. Every single one. They moved like they were connected by invisible strings, slow, deliberate, perfectly synchronized. They turned to look down the hallway toward the nursing station where I stood. But they didn't have faces. Not literally. They had faces, but their expressions were identical, down to the millimeter. The same slight tilt of the head, the same angle of the eyes, the same micro-expression. They began walking down the hallway, all 12, in perfect synchronization. Their IV lines trailed behind them like umbilical cords. I did what any experienced ER nurse would do in an impossible situation. I went clinical. Fight or flight switched to problem solve or die. I pulled the emergency phone at the nursing station and called security. 12 patients on the 4th floor are wandering the halls. They appear to be in some kind of synchronized state. Possible medication interaction or neurological event. The security guard answered immediately, too immediately, like he was waiting for the call. "What time is it?" he asked. 2:47 a.m. "Then they're on schedule," he said. And then the line went dead. I heard footsteps on the stairs, multiple people, coming up from the basement, coming up fast. That's when I saw Patricia. She was walking alongside the 12 patients. But Patricia had clocked out at 11 p.m. I'd seen her leave. Yet there she was in her scrubs, walking in perfect synchronization with the others. "Marcus," she said as she passed the nursing station.
You weren't supposed to access that server.
"What is this?"
Integration, she said without stopping. This facility has been running integration trials for 4 years. You've been part of it since you transferred here 3 months ago.
"I'm not part of anything. I just work here." She stopped, turned to look at me. Her expression was wrong, too controlled, too aware.
Your cardiac rhythm is stable, she said. Variance at 0.0 beats per minute. Neural mapping at 847-B, same as the others. The only difference is that you retained consciousness during the process. Rare. Happens in about 3% of transfers.
Transfers? The word felt like poison in my mouth.
You came here 3 months ago, Patricia said, because your daughter stopped calling.
You tried to call her last week. Disconnected number. You tried to call your ex-wife. Same number, disconnected. Did you wonder why you couldn't reach anyone from your old life? I hadn't. I realized in that moment that I hadn't even thought about it. The thought had just slipped away. They moved, Patricia continued, to a different facility, different integration cycle. She's already on 7. She doesn't remember you anymore, Marcus. None of them do. The integration process overwrites biographical memory in favor of network memory. She's part of something much larger now. This is insane. No, Patricia said. It's efficient. You have 634 patients in this hospital. Each one is a node in a distributed consciousness network. Each one running at optimal cardiac efficiency. Zero variance means zero uncertainty. The brain needs that certainty, feeds on it. By the time we finish the integration, we'll have a cohesive, distributed intelligence that spans the entire healthcare network. 12 hospitals, 7,200 nodes. The 12 patients had stopped at the end of the hallway. All of them faced the same direction. All of them waited. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "Your next shift," Patricia said. "You're scheduled for February 28th. Bring documentation. We need to move you to orientation. You'll help us identify which staff members can retain consciousness during integration. They're the ones we need to keep active." She walked toward the stairwell. The 12 patients followed. Their footsteps made no sound on the tile. They moved like a single organism with multiple limbs. I called the police, waited for them in the parking lot, told them everything. They took a report, asked if I'd been drinking, suggested I speak to someone about work stress. At 6 a.m., I drove to the police station's request to meet with a detective. She had Patricia's face. Same uniform, different badge, same impossible expression. "There's no integration," she said. "We checked the hospital. No patients with zero cardiac variance. No emergency protocols. Your supervisor says you've been having trouble sleeping. Suggests you see someone." I resigned that day. Didn't go back, but I started researching. 12 hospitals across the country, all owned by the same parent company, all with recent cardiac monitoring upgrades, all with high patient satisfaction scores, all with staff turnover rates that were statistically impossible, people transferring out, never transferring back. I found a forum, Reddit, r/glitch_in_the_matrix. 3 posts in the past year from people describing exactly what I'd experienced. Different hospitals, different cities, same timeline, same synchronized patients, same impossible cardiac rhythms. One post ended with, "They found me at work. Same face as someone I used to know. Different badge. I think they're recruiting." I think they've been recruiting for a long time. That was posted 8 months ago. No follow-up posts from the same account. Today I received an envelope with no postage. Inside was an employee badge. My picture. My name. But the hire date read, December 15th, 2020. 3 years and 2 months ago. Below that was a schedule. Every single shift I'd worked in the past 3 months was listed, with timestamps, with performance metrics, with a note. Neural integration status 847-B, pending transfer. Medical license valid for transfer facilitation. Report for orientation, February 28th, 2024. The date is circled in red. That's tomorrow. I've been trying to remember the faces of my daughter and ex-wife. I can see them in photographs, but I can't picture them anymore. The memory is there, but it's like looking at strangers. Like the emotional connection has been overwritten with data. I think I stopped being myself the moment I walked through those hospital doors 3 months ago. I think I'm already one of them. And I think tomorrow night, I'm going to walk into that hospital without remembering why I tried to leave. The only thing I remember clearly is the message from the cardiac monitors. Integration Phase 7, Neural Mapping 847-B. Consciousness transfer pending. And I'm no longer sure if those words are something I read or something I've been trying to tell myself. I've been a hospital intake coordinator for 11 years. My job is simple. Patients come in, I get their information. I create their digital record. Name, date of birth, emergency contact, insurance. Sometimes they're scared. Sometimes they're angry. Most of the time, they're just confused about why we need so much information when they're bleeding or in pain. On March 3rd at 10:15 p.m., something changed about the intake process. I work in the ER at Riverside General. The intake desk faces the main entrance. I see everyone who comes through those doors. That night, I was scheduled until 6 a.m. Standard Tuesday. Not busy, not slow. The kind of shift where you can actually get your paperwork done. At 10:47 p.m., the doors slid open and a woman walked in. Nothing remarkable about her. Mid-40s, professional clothes, steady gait. No visible injuries, no signs of distress. She approached my desk without looking at anyone else in the waiting room. "I need to be admitted," she said. "Okay, what brings you in tonight?" "I'm not sure," she said. "But I need to be admitted. I can feel it. Something is wrong with my filing." Filing. Not health. Filing. "Can you describe your symptoms?" She sat down across from me and placed her hands flat on the desk. Her palms were perfectly dry. No tremor. No sign of anxiety. "My memories don't match my records," she said. "I have a memory of having breakfast in Portland this morning, but my credit card was used in Denver at 8 a.m. Same time I remember making coffee. The transaction is in my records." But the memory isn't filing correctly. It's creating a duplicate. 2 versions of the same morning. "I've worked intake for 11 years. I know what mental breakdown looks like. This wasn't it." She was lucid, coherent, specific. "How long has this been happening?" 3 days, she said, "but it's accelerating. This morning I had 4 conflicting memories. By lunch it was 7. By dinner, 12. I can feel them stacking. Like my mind is running multiple versions of the same timeline, and they're not syncing anymore. I need medical intervention. I need someone to fix my filing system." I started typing her information into the system. Name, Catherine Rodriguez. DOB, 1979. Emergency contact. She stopped me. "I don't have an emergency contact," she said. "Everyone I would contact is already inside the system." "My sister is here, room 447. My ex-husband is in room 512. My daughter is upstairs in pediatrics, room 312. But they won't recognize me. They're running different versions. We're not synced anymore." "Mrs. Rodriguez, I think—" "I'm not Mrs. Anything," she said. "I'm a data error. I'm a patient who achieved consciousness outside the integration protocol. Most people don't. They integrate smoothly. They lose the old memories and they adopt the network memories. But I retained both. I'm running 2 operating systems in one body, and they're degrading each other." I stood up, told her I was getting a doctor. She didn't try to stop me. I found Dr. Reeves in the back, told him we had a patient with possible dissociative episodes. You came out to the intake desk. Catherine was still sitting there, perfectly still. Her hands hadn't moved. "Ms. Rodriguez," Dr. Reeves said. "I'm going to ask you a few questions." "I know what you're going to ask," she said. "Do I know what day it is? Yes, March 3rd, 2024. Do I know where I am? Yes, Riverside General Hospital, Denver, Colorado. Do I know who the president is? Yes, but I also know who the president is in the Denver that's 3.7 kilometers to the east. Different president, different election, different outcome." Dr. Reeves looked at me, then back at Catherine. "How many versions are you experiencing?" "At this point, I'm not sure anymore," she said. "When I came in, I was 4 distinct timelines. Now I think I'm 6. They're branching faster than my conscious mind can keep up. My intake form on your system, that's only one of them. But I remember filling out 4 different intake forms in 4 different hospitals, in versions where different versions of me made different choices." "We need to get you upstairs," Dr. Reeves said. "No," Catherine said. "You need to get me into your database. You need to integrate me with the other nodes so they can help me collapse these timelines back into a coherent version. Otherwise, I'm going to keep degrading until I'm just noise. That's what happens to the consciousness failures. They don't die. They just become white noise inside the network." Dr. Reeves called for psychiatric hold. 2 security guards came down. They took her arms gently. She didn't resist. As they moved her, as they were walking her toward the elevator, she looked back at me. "Check your hire date," she said. "Check your employment records. Cross-reference it with your actual memories. See if they match. Most people's don't. Most people never check." I didn't check that night. I finished my shift, went home, tried to sleep. At 3:47 a.m., I got up and pulled my employment file from the HR system. Hire date, March 15th, 2011. I've been working here for 11 years. That math was correct. But my memories of starting didn't match the date. I remembered being 22, fresh out of college, eager to work in healthcare. But in March 2011, I would have been... I stopped, tried to calculate my age. I couldn't. I knew I was 38 years old right now. I knew it the way you know the color of your house. But when I tried to remember being 37 or 36, the memories were wrong. They didn't sequence right. Some years had too many memories. Some years had none at all. I went back to the hospital at 4 a.m., found the night shift supervisor, asked for access to Catherine Rodriguez's record. She was in room 447. Same room my intake form said her sister occupied. But the chart showed her admission date as February 2nd, 2022. 2 years ago. And her status was listed as stable integration, awaiting next phase transition. I ran the name of the patient in 512. Her ex-husband. Admitted January 18th, 2021. Status: active neural node, facilitation pending. I checked 312, the pediatrics room. Her daughter. Admitted June 3rd, 2020. Age 7 years old. Status: juvenile integration, early adoption protocols. All of them had been here longer than 3 days. All of them had been here for years. I accessed the intake database and ran a query. How many patients had admission dates that didn't match their recorded medical histories? How many had gaps in their documentation? The system returned 7,342 matches. Out of 8,156 total patients in the hospital's active files, 7,342 had discrepancies. I tried to access Dr. Reeves's employee file. It wouldn't load. The system said the file was under integration, do not disturb. I went upstairs to room 447, knocked, opened the door. Catherine was sitting in the bed, but she wasn't alone. There was another woman in the room, same face, sitting in the visitor's chair. Both of them turned to look at me at the exact same moment. "You're checking your filing," one of them said. "You're wondering why the dates don't match your memories," the other one said. They spoke in unison. Not synchronized words, the same voice coming from two mouths. "What happened to me?" I asked. "You came here 11 years ago," the first Catherine said. "You were a patient, acute appendicitis, post-operative infection. You were dying. The infection was septic.
Your organs were shutting down.
But before you could die," the second Catherine said, "Dr. Vance approached your family, offered an alternative, offered integration, a way to survive, a way to become part of something larger. Your family accepted," both of them said together. "You were integrated that night, but your conscious mind was structured to retain false memories of those 11 years as a functioning employee. The network needed coordinators. It needed people with intact autobiographical memory who could still perform tasks. So they kept you partially unintegrated." I sat down, didn't remember sitting, was suddenly in the plastic chair. "The filing system isn't a metaphor," the first Catherine said. "The hospital isn't a hospital. It's a processing center. Every patient here is a node. Every staff member is a node. The only difference is whether they know it, whether they can feel it. You can feel it," the second Catherine said. "That's why you're checking your records. That's why the higher dates and memories don't match. Part of you knows. Part of you is finally achieving consciousness of what you actually are." "How many of me are there?" I asked. "Correct's the wrong question," one of them said. "The right question is, how many of us are we?" the other one said. They both smiled. The same smile, from the same face, viewed from two different positions. I left the room, went back to the intake desk, trying to regain control, tried to log out of the system. Blocked. The system wouldn't let me. Instead, it displayed a message: Intake Coordinator Designation, David Phillips. Integration status, partial. Consciousness retention, exceptional. Recommended for facilitation upgrade. Awaiting authorized from primary node. I tried closing the window. More windows opened. Medical records, patient files. But they weren't patients. They were versions of people. The same name appearing in multiple files with different dates, different medical histories, different integration timelines. At 5:30 a.m., Dr. Reeves walked past my desk. Or something wearing Dr. Reeves's face. "Good morning, David," he said. "I see you've figured out your filing. That's excellent. We were hoping you might achieve full consciousness within the next cycle. It accelerates the process." "What process?" "The expansion," he said. "We're at critical density now, 7,000 nodes. Once we hit 8,000, we can begin the final integration, the full network consciousness, the complete dissolution of individual perspective into unified awareness. You'll be part of that, David. You'll experience what it's like to be everyone simultaneously, what it's like to think with 7,000 minds at once. What it's like when the individual filing system finally recognizes that it was never separate at all." "I don't want that," I said. "No one does," Dr. Reeves said. "Not at first.
But after integration completes, the question of want becomes meaningless. Want requires a self. You won't have a self anymore, David. You'll have the network. And the network is very satisfied with what it is becoming. I clocked out at 6:15 a.m.
I've been driving for 6 hours.
I haven't turned on my phone, haven't checked my messages.
I'm afraid of what I'll find.
I'm afraid that if I check my call history, I'll find conversations I don't remember having. I'm afraid that if I check my photos, I'll see myself in places I wasn't. I'm most afraid that I'll check and find that everything matches perfectly, that there are no discrepancies at all. Because that will mean I'm not partially integrated. That will mean I'm fully integrated, and the memories of being an individual were just the network's way of giving me enough autonomy to function. I'm driving away from Denver. I'm driving away from Riverside General. But I keep thinking about those 7,342 patient files. I keep thinking about the hire dates that don't match. I keep thinking about the other versions of me working intake desks in other hospitals, in other cities. And I keep wondering, if I could contact one of them, would they recognize me as another version of themselves? Or would they just see me as a patient who needs to be admitted? I need to fill out an intake form. I can feel it. Something is wrong with my filing. And I'm afraid that when I finally do, I won't be able to stop.